What's up guys, Shade Tree Surgeon here with a special release video because Christmas just came fucking early. Most of y'all will remember a video I did a few weeks ago called Why Indian Sucks, speaking of course of Indian motorcycles. I'll have a link to that video down below, but the basic gist of that video was this. My big gripe with Indian was that instead of choosing to break the mold, they just decided to be yet another Harley Davidson clone and churn out boring overpriced baggers. I accuse them of not making really any effort to break the status quo, instead just kind of being content to take little tiny nibbles out of Harley's market share by producing clone bikes and not really trying anything new or innovative. The only real silver lining I saw to it was the Scout, and of course Indian's willingness to put real dollars into their flat track racing team. Win on Sunday, sell on Monday. It still rings true, but you gotta have something to sell, and winning all those races, it doesn't really help sell baggers. People want to buy the bike that won the race, and unfortunately as of right now, the FTR1200 is only a purpose-built race bike. What Indian did do is build a one-off prototype. Using everything they've learned from racing and building the FTR1200, they built a street-legal tracker version of that bike using the 1200cc V-twin motor from the Indian Scout. Thus was born the concept bike, the FTR1200. Now that is the American motorcycle that I want to see. That is truly something different. This is the bike that could completely turn on its head what people think of when they think of an American-made motorcycle. Well, that was about a year ago, and after flashing us with that nip, Indian put its top firmly back on and didn't say a word while everyone and their mother was just begging them for the love of everything holy, please make this motorcycle. Ask and ye shall receive. The FTR1200 is going to be a full-on production motorcycle. Now trust me, I don't think the video that I released a few weeks ago has jack all to do with this announcement, but the squeaky wheel gets the oil, man. People have been asking for something different, and Indian has stepped up to the plate in a huge way. Now, there's a few different reasons why I think this is so absolutely amazing. I mean, besides the fact that we're getting this amazing motorcycle made in America, and I'm gonna list them now. Number one is the fact that Indian and their parent company Polaris, they're listening to us. Even in their announcement video, they readily acknowledge that people have been begging them to make this motorcycle. To me, that's huge. Big motorcycle corporations like Harley and Honda and Yamaha, you know, they aren't really known for listening to what people say they want. What they are known for is not taking risks, and when a new model of motorcycle comes out, you can usually tell that it's much more influenced by cold marketing analytics and projections than by passion. They like to see how little they can get away with, not how far they can push it. Now, I'm no fool. Arguably anyway. I do realize that there had to be a whole bunch of eggheads crunching numbers and studying marketing analytics for Indian to greenlight a project like this. But to me anyway, it also just feels like a gut reaction. When I look at the FTR1200, it seems to me like Indian was just shooting from the hip. And shooting from the hip with the kind of easy confidence that comes when you know you've got a winner. When you don't even have to check the target because you know that motherfucker's a bullseye. And maybe I'm romanticizing it a bit. I do tend to do that. But I'd be willing to bet that the reason that we're getting the FTR1200 is because that there was a few enthusiasts within Polaris Indian who took one look at this bike and said, no fucking way are we gonna let this bike not get built. I feel that way because looking at it, this is very obviously an enthusiast bike. I think it'll have plenty of mass market appeal as well, but when you look at this bike, you can just tell this was not a machine built by number crunchers. This was a bike that was built by somebody who truly loves motorcycles. And if all that is contrived and it was part of Indian's plan all along to make me feel that way when I look at the FTR1200, well, fucking bravo, man. You got me. Hook, line, and sinker. Number two, This isn't a parts bin bike. Now, a little bit of this is going to be speculation because Indian hasn't released the official specifications of the FTR1200 production model yet. But from everything they're saying, this is going to be a completely new motorcycle. This ain't gonna be some cobbled together half-ass attempt at rebadging the Scout. This will be a purpose-built motorcycle. That really sets it apart from pretty much any other motorcycle in the scrambler or tracker category because every other one of those bikes from every other manufacturer is basically just a warmed up, rebadged existing model. The new Triumph Scrambler, it's just a fucking Bonneville with high pipes, man. The Yamaha Bolt Scrambler, that one's one of the worst offenders. I'm pretty sure they didn't actually change anything on that motorcycle besides give it a new paint job and put Scrambler in the name. To be honest with you, it's downright insulting. And the fact that BMW had the audacity to slap the letters GS on the side of a BMW R9T and the only thing they fucking did to that bike was put a dirt bike front fender on it, it's just beyond the pale, man. Arguably, the Ducati Desert Sled is the best of the bunch, but it's still just a Ducati Scrambler. You know, at least they had the decency to put long travel suspension on the thing. Hell, even Harley Davidson isn't above putting the XR moniker on a Sportster and trying to convince us that it's special. I'm sorry, man. Even though I think it looks great, and trust me, I love Sportsters, but this bike, the XR1200, it's just another Sportster. The XR1200 is especially disappointing because the XR750 that it takes its name from was not only the bike that Evel Knievel rode, but it's probably won more races than any other motorcycle ever built. If you're gonna stick XR on the side of a motorcycle, you had better make sure that that bike is worthy of the title, and Harley Davidson most certainly did not. From everything Indian is saying, the only bit of the Scout that's gonna be on the FTR is the motor. And you won't find me complaining there because I think that the 1200cc V-twin from the Scout is an absolutely amazing motor. Bikes that don't just look the part. Bikes that aren't pretenders like all the ones I just previously listed. They don't exist in this category. And if the FTR1200 is everything they say it's going to be, this will be a totally unique bike in a class of its own. And finally, number 3, this bike is a total departure from what people think when they think of a motorcycle made in America. Certainly people have tried to change what people think of when they think of American-made motorcycles, most notably Eric Buell, and there's other boutique brands like Modus and Bramo, but they're just that. Boutique. Harley Davidson is synonymous with American-made motorcycles, and Harley makes cruisers. Period. They use old, outdated tech, air-cooled pushrod V-twins, not because they're not capable of more. The V-Rod is proof that they're capable of more. They do that because they're a slave to their own history. When you use nothing but nostalgia to sell motorcycles, you run the risk of painting yourself in a very dangerous circle. I think Harleys are fine bikes, and they make a fine motor, even with their own self-imposed restrictions. But Harley certainly ain't gonna color outside the box, and for a while anyway, it looked like Indian was pretty much gonna follow suit. But this bike, the FTR1200, this bike is such a departure. It's so different, it doesn't even seem possible. And if it's any kind of success, it's going to completely change American motorcycles. I certainly hope it does anyway, because if somebody doesn't open up new avenues and new opportunities for what an American motorcycle can be, they're doomed. I'm also incredibly eager to see it shake up the tracker scrambler class. Why should we put up with rebadged parts bin bikes when you can get something like the FTR1200? It is so far past time that Triumph made a scrambler that can actually scramble that I want to spit. All these companies need a fire lit under their ass, and I think Indian might be starting it. I really hope I'm not eating my words after the official reveal and this thing turns out to be a total stinker, but time will tell. As always, I'd love to know what you guys think about the FTR1200. Do you think it's going to change American motorcycles? Do you think it's going to be a piece of crap? Would you ride one? Leave me a comment below and let me know. And of course, if you like this video, make sure to leave a like on it. And if you enjoy this type of content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Till next time, y'all, keep it weird.